All right, you all. Thanks for blowing in on a windy night. It's not going to storm till you get home, so we'll be good. But even with this crowd is a good sized crowd, but we have even more participating sort of online where people can zoom in. And also we have a big cohort with our graduate program with Miami University that we've been doing for over 20 years. So it's neat that this story will be recorded and people can share it elsewise and they're watching. So at the end, we'll have some chance for questions and that'll include some students from afar. So that'll be fun. For those of you I don't know, I'm Thane Maynard. I'm lucky to be director here at the Cincinnati Zoo. And this is our 33rd year of the Barrows Conservation Lecture Series. And it is a joy always to welcome people from the field telling us what the status really is today with certain species, certain ecosystems. And especially it's fun to be here tonight with Paulo Ferraz. I've been very fortunate to visit his site and see what is arguably the cutest animal in the world, which is the Golden Lion Tamarin. And the work they do is remarkable. If you read about Brazil, you think, oh gosh, the Amazon or the giant swamps. But when you hear about eastern coastal Brazil, you hear, gosh, that area has been so cleared and it's been so fragmented. But year by year, and Paulo's worked for it a long time, and so have others, knitting those forests back together with corridors, creating just crazy situations to help these monkeys survive. It's working, and he'll know the numbers, but many-fold more than when he started and when that program started. So that's certainly a hopeful thing. It was once one of the most endangered primates in the world on the top 10 list, and now it has a much stronger future. So please welcome Paulo Ferraz.
Oh, thank you so much. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very, very happy to be here. My name is Paulo. I am a geographer and working for this organization since 2011. And but all this work started years before. I'm very happy to be here with one of our partners, which is the Cincinnati Zoo, that has helped us and is part of the conservation program. More than helping us, we consider our partners also our implementing partners. So I'm very excited to be here, especially because in 2 days I could understand a little bit about your work as a zoo and what you do. What a fantastic! I had no expectation about what I could find here, and it's an amazing history of work and amazing work in terms of conservation. I have been working with conservation for many years, and I was telling our friends this morning that after being selected to work for the Golden Lion Tamarin, I could understand much better the importance of the zoos for conservation. And I hope that today, sharing this story, I will make everyone understand the whole of the zoos in our program. And this is something that can be used by you during all kinds of debates you have about the importance of the zoos and how they can help to save species from extinction. This is a very good example, and we have different partners of zoos all over the world, from New Zealand to Copenhagen, Atlanta, Cincinnati, and many others. And I'm it has changed my own perception about zoos. I also was a bit not very sure about that, and only working for the Golden Lion Tamarin, I could understand how important you are and the important play you have. So I hope that I will share here part of this story, and hope also that you get interested and involved, and this partnership will last for a long time. I'm sorry for my English, that's not that good, but I will do my best. It's okay. It's okay. Hello. Yeah. This is my boss. And So this is the idea of my presentation, to talk to you about, well, where the Golden Lion Tamarins live, a little bit of this almost 50 years of history that show us that a conservation history cannot be done in a 2 years project, in a 3 years effort. It is a long process. And this story tell you a little bit about that. What we do, the conservation goals, our problems in terms of threats and challenge that we have until today, even if the situation is much better than before, and how the association is organized, and our ideas for the future, and some ideas for us to think together. I also have here a link of a 15 minutes film. If we have time at the end, I can share with you, or also it's in our YouTube, but I will show a little bit just to make you fall in love with our beautiful animal. That's also my goal here. Well, we are talking about one of the most complex and endangered ecosystems in the world. It's not the Atlantic forest. It's not the Amazon, but the Atlantic forest. It's a tropical forest in the coast of Brazil. As you can see here, what we have in dark green, the remnants of this forest, and in yellow, the original area of the Atlantic forest. So we are in Rio. I am from São Paulo, but I'm living here in interior of Rio de Janeiro state. And a huge problem that you have all over the Atlantic forest, which is called fragmentation. The remnants that's still there, they only in some parts of the territory they are connected. So we have to work in our area, in the region where the Golden Lion Tamarin lives, to make this landscape a little bit more protected and connected. So and the Golden Lion Tamarin lives in an area called lowland forest, very humid and warm. For me, I'm from São Paulo. Sometimes it's very hot, but we have to survive. And they don't. We have some areas of. We have some hills in the region with altitudes close to 800 meters, but we can only find them until maximum of 500 meters. So all kind of development already happen in the region, making this habitat very, very difficult to work. So we are talking about a region that is has been affected by different kind of infrastructures, agriculture, etc. But it's not working. Let me try here. No. Okay. Oops, too much. Yeah. For those who have been in Rio before, Rio de Janeiro city is here. And originally, the Golden Lion Tamarin could be found even in the city of Rio, in all this area here that we call the lowland forest. But today, this area is the area that you have as our focus. I live exactly in this city called Casimiro de Abreu, something like 2 hours drive from Rio. I hope you, after this presentation, we are going to call your travel agency and preparing your trip to Brazil. So I'm explaining that not that difficult to find our place. All this region here is very touristic. We have beautiful beaches, etc. And all those people here drink the water that comes from this reservoir, and this water comes from the watershed where we have the Golden Lion Tamarin. So it's a very strategic region, very close. By here we have the basis of our Brazilian oil exploitation area, where we take lots of oil and gas. So even this region here, we have lots of pipelines, gas pipes, and roads, all kind of infrastructures crossing our landscape. So poor Golden Lion Tamarin that is endemic of this region, where we have everything going on, and we have to deal with development in our in our everyday work. Well, this is an amazing picture. I will tell you more about this bridge, but one of our staff members, they were in the top of the hill here, and this is not artificial intelligence. It's a real photo, and and this truck here says wife under extinction, and the picture of the Golden Lion Tamarin. So it's real. And I don't know why, but I like to put this picture in all my presentations because it's so symbolic of all this story. But we have a conservation goals, and I would like to talk about that. So lots of people ask us, so what's the direction you are taking? Where are you going to? And the scientists during different meetings and workshops, etc., identified this goal that to save the Golden Lion Tamarin, we have a goal to have at least 2,000 Golden Lion Tamarins living in at least 25,000 hectares. In acres is something that 62,000, thank you so much, my assistant, of forests connected and protected. So during the presentation, I will show you that we have more than that, more than 2,000 Golden Lion Tamarins, more than 25,000 hectares, but we don't have one single fragment of forest with all these conditions together. The fragmentation is our big problem. And that's how I will try to explain you about our program. If you look at this image here, you have the 4 species of lion tamarins. The one we work is in Rio, but you have 3 others, and one of them, our cousin, is the golden-headed lion tamarin that you have here in the zoo. I hope in the very close future, you're going to have the Golden Lion Tamarin here as well. I will come here when they arrive to receive them. But we try to do some work together, but they are all they are endemic of different regions of Brazil. One in São Paulo, one in the Northeast, one in the South, and the Golden Lion Tamarin in Rio. Well, I'm not going into much detail about our strategic planning, but just to say that all things that we do are related to some idea, to some to good science, and trying to reach some of the goals of our program. That includes evaluation of the threats, some threats that we have that are not so complicated now, and others that you thought that were not threat, but they are again. So life is a bit dynamic, and we have to think and change our strategies regularly. Otherwise, we cannot survive. They cannot survive. But this is a long process. To reach our goals, we have to work in different strategies. Monitoring the tamarins in the wild, yes, we need to have specialists and biologists work on that. But also we need to work on public policies and environmental education to include local schools in our work. Ecotourism is something that is growing in our agenda. Forest restoration, I will talk about that today. So all those strategies that we have, indicators, we have goals and activities that with our team, we try to work hard to make things happen. So as I said, this is a long story. Some of the people that are here in this picture, they are still helping us, such as Dr. James Dietz from Maryland University, one of the founders of the association. It's a effort, an international effort to save any species, and this is something very important to share. No, the National Zoo helped us very much to organize a reintroduction program, and that was very successful. Here we have a photo of the animals arriving at the airport in Rio. They had to be transported in families. They are always in families. So it was a very complicated process, that is very successful and a very good story to tell when we are discussing the importance of the zoos. The association itself was created in 1992 after the Rio conference, if you remember. The association was created, but this work started before, in a situation that was completely different of the challenge that you have today. Yeah, the Golden Lion Tamarin was critically endangered. It was a situation really, really close to extinction. And research and actions in the field were made not in a very organized way, but some heroes that were trying to do something. And during all this process, it was built this process of planning and discussion, a better discussion about our goals, etc. And today, I'm not going to read in all details, but I put in some information here to share. But today, the situation has changed a lot. Our challenges today are different, but we still have some. And the deforestation is not the same. The legislation also is something that has improved a lot in Brazil, and it's very complicated for those who want to cut the Atlantic forest. And what is interesting is that the category of our species in terms of IUCN that manage the red list of endangered species has shifted from critically endangered to endangered. And that is absolutely important for us. Yeah, and of course, all this history turned the Golden Lion Tamarin as a kind of symbol of conservation in Brazil, and a species that is in our 20 reais money. I know that we don't use paper money anymore, but they are there. It's a kind of symbol of conservation. Everyone knows. If you ask any Brazilian, tell me a name of endangered species. The Golden Lion Tamarin is the first one that people say, because this story is very well known in Brazil and abroad. And I would like to also to discuss today why the situation is like that and what we are doing to save the species, and the perspectives for the future. Can we really save these species, and why we should continue our work to engage people, to make people be part of this work, and how important it is for communication, for discussing nature with everyone. Some information about natural history. That is what is very important is that they live in a family. Each family needs 50 hectares. Oh my God, 50 hectares. That might be in acres, 120, according to my assistant. And that means one family needs a lot of space. And if a baby, if a young Golden Lion Tamarin wants to create a new family, he has to move, to leave his family, find a girlfriend, and start a new family in another forest. So the connectivity is a very important issue for us. That's why we have forest restoration as very important in our agenda. Well, 124 acres, yes. So small populations that have a high probability of extinction. And we can say that even today, it is a small population. And especially when we have the situation of forest fragments where they are living in. So genetically, it's a problem that you have animals in the same forest fragment, and they can inbreed in the group and have reproductive problems in the future. So we have to look at the landscape. We cannot just think locally. But before all this work in terms of reintroduction, this is a map of what we call our management unity map that shows the territory that were connected until recently, because this map I will show you that has changed a little bit. But our fragments, most of them had no tamarins, and they were translocated to this forests. And this is a very important thing to discuss with the zoo communities. We had to fill the forest with Golden Lion Tamarin, and this partnership created with the National Zoo and so many other zoos all over the world that were able to transport to Brazil 146 Golden Lion Tamarins. They were born in captivity. They have to pass through a process of training to be able to survive in the forest. I was not there at that time, but we have different people in my staff that's still there, that worked at that time. And it was real challenge. And if you want to read more, we can share more information about that. But today we have lots of descendants of those animals. As I said this morning, normally we take visitors to see Lily and they went there to see one fragment of forest with Golden Lion Tamarins, descendants of tamarins that came from Atlanta Zoo. So they could speak easily in English, etc. And they're very communicative. But we have this link with we know, since they are not moving around, they are territorialists, we know that they are descendants of those animals that came. We know exactly the situation of this family, and we are monitoring them until today. So this is a real story to tell about the importance of the zoos. And even today, since 2001, we don't have reintroduction anymore. It was not necessary, but in 2017, we had a terrible crisis of yellow fever, and we lost part of the population, 32%, and in 2 years. So it's a small population. It's still very vulnerable, and we are really confident that we have in the zoos a population that is genetically viable. We have a management of this population. We have someone who takes care of those animals in captivity, and all the zoos that have Golden Lion Tamarins are part of our conservation program. In case of a real catastrophe, we know that you can have the reintroduction again. I hope not. I'm sure that is not going to be necessary. But this crisis showed us how complicated it is. So we have descendants of captive Golden Lion Tamarins as 32% of the total today, and is spread out in our landscape. This graph shows the evolution of our estimates. So from 200 in 1970 and growing until 2014, but the yellow fever crisis brought us to the first red light panic in our institution. So we really got worried about the future, but I started also a process of vaccinating them against the yellow fever using one specialist that is also a partner of us and live in the region. He developed a vaccine, was part of the vaccine that you have for humans. And we have already vaccinated more than almost 500 animals. And today the situation is back to increase the population. So yes, it is very emotional, this figure. When we saw it between 19 and 23, we had the pandemic. We don't know exactly the effect of the calm landscape that you had, everyone at home, the economic activities went down, so they were more able to move in the territory, and we had this amazing surprise, and we are very excited with that. So there is hope. For those who want to understand more about our census, this is the article that was published, and with all the information. If you want, we can share it later. Well, let me talk more about our territory. As you can see, we have two biological reserves, one here and one here. This is the first biological reserve in Brazil. It has 50 years old. Part of this park, because here we have some hills and you don't have Golden Lion Tamarins, just only this part we have. And these trees here are private reserve. With all this range reduction process, some of the private landowners, they got involved with us and created reserves in their property. But as you can see, most of the forest, most of the territory, they are not protected. So that means we have to negotiate with landowners all the time to access their property, to monitor the tamarins, or to ask for permission to restore the forest in their property, sometimes with good results, sometimes not. So it's a permanent process of negotiation, lots of talks, lots of discussion, trying to bring value for them to have Golden Lion Tamarins in their land. Some of them are interested, some of them are not, and some others don't want to talk. So it's a different picture in terms of the landowners that are there, and our work is to try to talk and to engage. Even after more than 40 years of work in the field, sometimes we still have difficulties to do this kind of work. So just to compare, at the beginning, those are the management unity that you have, the territories that were separated and the animals were not moving because there was not continuity between the fragments. And today we have now 6 territories. That means some of them were already connected, some of them are not. And these numbers here, I'm going to show some of the areas that we are working today, trying to create connections between fragments to make this landscape even more connected. So the first one, this one here, it's quite difficult because it's a riparian forest in a river, but you have here a wonderful farm, an amazing fragment with lots of Golden Lion Tamarins. But now we have this riparian forest being planted, in this case by the municipality, but we supported them to identify this area, trying to connect this forest with the rest of the landscape. This one here is a very, very important corridor that we recently, we are now planting the trees here. We are calling it the corridor Jennifer Mickelberg. Some of you met Jennifer, she was a curator of the primates at the Atlanta Zoo, a fantastic scientist and a very good friend, partner of us who passed away 2 years ago. And we decided to name this corridor on her. A very special person that we lost, but what she did for us, we are trying to continue our work for her. So the association, with support of Rainforest Trust and the DOB Ecology, we purchased this farm here because here we have a, how can I say, flooding area of this river that's quite good for agriculture. And but the landowners did not allow us to plant forests here. We just were able to make one small corridor, and then this farm was for sale, and we identified that, and we purchased the farm, and we are planting now all this area here to become one of the most important forest corridors, connecting the 2 largest forest fragments we have in our landscape. So we purchased this farm last year, and today you have people there planting trees. So all this in the future will be restored, and the tamarins will be able to move more. Of course, they can pass here, but the fragment is so important, the connection is so important that we need to restore everything. And all the restorations, sometimes when we can, we engage the local communities, students, and even the guys we hire to work for us for the hard work of the restoration. They are from this region here. So that is the second. You can see here how important will be to connect this fragment and this. It's going to be a very, very important corridor. The number 3 here is a canopy passage that was built, the BR-101 road. That's a very important road in Brazil. That was the second lane was built recently, and you had a long negotiation to build wildlife passage for them. And this is already done, and the animals are already using it. So we are quite happy with that. And the number 4, 5 and 6 is we did not start yet. But the number 4 is a very famous structure, which is the wildlife bridge. That's part of this negotiation as well during the process of the construction of this road. And it's the first bridge like that in Brazil, in federal roads in Brazil. And we are very, very excited with that. This the concessionary responsible for the road was responsible for the project and to build the construction, and the Golden Lion Tamarin Association planted the trees in both sides. And in here's again, and I'm very proud to show to you that in when the bridge was finalized, even the New York Times put in the first page, and we are very proud of it. And only to give you an idea about the complexity of this development and conservation issues we have. Okay, we have the bridge, but immediately after the bridge, you have another obstacle. 2 of them, actually, electric wires, and under here we have oil pipeline. So we cannot plant trees on top of the oil pipelines. We need to have nets and cables to facilitate for the tamarins. But already have so many different species using it. The Golden Lion Tamarin is not using, but we are very optimistic that in close future it will happen. The decision was to build the bridge right here. This is an old picture. And at that period, we saw an opportunity because this property here was for sale. No, it's here. And the association decided to fundraise for that. And with the support of a Dutch organization called DOB Ecology, and we were able to purchase this farm here. And now our headquarters that was inside the biological reserve has shifted to this area, and we created the Golden Lion Tamarin Ecological Park. And I have to tell you, during these 2 days here, I have been learning a lot and exchanging lots of ideas with your staff, because we are very young in terms of having a park, a place to receive the public and talk to them and tell our story. And I know that you are doing that for more than 100 years. So we need to learn with you. But all this area here was restored. We have forest here right now. Hello. Yeah. So this is how it was the area when you purchased in 2018. And now, okay. So all this is restored. Forest restoration in the Atlantic forest can be complicated because after you plant, you need to maintain for 2 years and remove the grass that grows and can kill the seedlings. So it's not only complicated technically because you need to know the kind of species you have to use, different species that you have to use in this hill or in this flat area. So lots of knowledge involved. You have a forest engineer with us that does this job, but at the same time, it's quite expensive and it takes some time. So from 2020, 2019 until today, this is the situation. We are quite happy about the development of the forest here. And you can see the bridge. And also, we negotiated with this landowner a small corridor to connect the bridge and the biological reserve. We have different animals using it already. And recently, we also got funds to purchase the neighbor property. We are not going to become a landowner with millions of acres. No, it's difficult to manage. We want to keep our focus, but sometimes we have opportunities. We have donors that support us to do that, and specifically that area, it's already part of our park, and it's going to be a center for, related to forest restoration. We want to invite researchers to restore with us, to study our work, and also to engage people on forest restoration. That means part of our environmental education and ecotourism to show people how to do the job. It's possible to restore the forest. We have some challenge. We have to do with this methodology or another one, but it can be done. So we want to communicate better our word. That means environmental organizations and scientists. We are not very good in terms of communication. That's why we need to improve our communication with the public to make sustainability something real, to talk about climate change and other things. And that's what we are trying to do with this park. The difference that we have between pastures and forests and how it's possible. And immediately after restoring, you see some animals move into that area. In our park, we have today this tower that we call the Forest Restoration Tower, that we take the visitors to see this area, how it was in the past. We put this picture is over there in on the board, and being there, they see that the forest is back. Now we want to touch the heart of people and say, look, we can plant forests. We call the neighbors to see and to understand how we do and how we can exchange experience and do things together. Another thing that we do, we are doing there is the ecotourism, because we believe that the only way to change the behavior of people is to make people fall in love with biodiversity. It's not only something about papers and good conversations, participation in debates, etc. That has to be done. But we also need to involve, to get people to our side and invite them to take part of this effort. So, and there is nothing like being in the forest. We have some friends here who have already been there, people from Miami University, that I'm so happy that our friends are here. The Dragonfly team that have already been there, and we have every year a group of students from Miami University that take part on this initiative. I'm using their button also. And this program with us now is lasting for, I think, 6 years. And they spent 10 days with us in the doing everything our team does in the field, and even in our park, showing to the tourists the Golden Lion Tamarin. So today, I should not show this picture, because normally now after the yellow fever, we decide that all visitors should use a mask. So this is an old picture, but the mask is absolutely essential. We don't receive anyone without the yellow fever vaccine. We only work with small groups. So we try to be very cautious about that. So that's our park that you have there. And I hope this range of pictures here will help to convince all of you to go there next year and visit us. So we are trying to make something enjoyable, funny, that people have a good day and also can learn something. Not only as a school in the field, but making entertainment and knowledge something possible, as you do here, I'm sure. Well, when we work on conservation, we have to work with people. We cannot only think about conservation, studying the animals and their behavior, etc. All that has to be done. But we have to work with the local people. That has to be the main actors of this process. So here we have some initiatives, and I would like to highlight this one here. When we have one property that is part of we do something with them, or working in an agroecology project, or to restore the project in their property, or if you monitor the tamarins in the property, we install a board like that saying this property is a partner of the Golden Lion Tamarin, the name of the property. And in this case here, I don't know why I'm looking there if I have here. They have agroforest systems and they have a production in agroecology. It's a small family that work with us. And some others we have other boards, but always trying to highlight how important they are for us and for the wildlife, and they are doing something and can show to their visitors, look, we are partners of a conservation work. We have other initiatives. This is a course that we have with farmers and ladies that are working to, they have our nurses, the owners of the nurseries that provide the seedlings for our forest restoration project, and we provide them income for their life. And those are some of the partners that you have that produce the seedlings for our forest restoration project. Trying to involve the schools when we can in education activities, planting trees. We want to bring those kids back in the future to see the forest that they have planted itself. So all that's to say that we are trying to get some results, and it's possible to reach our goals. And you have here two examples, one related to the wildlife bridge and another one with the Jennifer Mickelberg corridor. So the first one related to the bridge that was concluded in 2020. Here we have the construction period. We have in some areas 4 meters of soil. It's a fantastic project in terms of engineering. But to be able to have that, we worked for 6 years, negotiating, making a campaign, putting pressure on the government. It was not a very easy process. And the breaking news is that recently we found, last year, but we found one Golden Lion Tamarin right here. We don't know if he crossed the bridge or if he came from the biological reserve. It doesn't matter. One day we will cross. We are quite excited with that, but we don't know exactly. But as soon as they cross, we are going to have a celebration, because we are going to reach that goal related to 2,000 Golden Lion Tamarin. This is one of the users of the bridge. If you take a look at our Facebook and in our social media, we have the different animals used in the bridge, and we are very happy with that, especially the terrestrial ones. But the Golden Lion Tamarin, they need to feel comfortable. They need to have the trees on top of it. And we are very optimistic that they are going to do that very soon. And the second one here, that's very, very important as well. When we connect both sides, we are going to have 1,100 from this side and 1,600 from the other side. And you're going to have this 2 connections. We are trying to find a landowner interested in helping us to build a corridor here. Not very easy. So we are trying. We are doing our best to make these connections viable. But we always have problems. So life is not so easy as we'd like to. It was, but because I will share now with you some threats that we still have in our territory. One of them is the yellow fever crisis that we had in 2017. And the virus has a cycle, and now we are concerned about the return of the yellow fever. We had in São Paulo some cases with humans last month. and the possibilities of having another crisis is real. One big issue when we have that is that the humans are a bit concerned about the monkeys. They think that the monkeys are bringing the disease, and we had some cases even in our region, in the Atlantic forest, with different primates, but people that kill the animals afraid that they would be responsible for the yellow fever, and that's not true. So our vaccination now is in the process. Even today, we never stopped the vaccination since we started, and we are going to continue to do that. So the crisis really was very important for us, showing how vulnerable this process still is. That means even after more than 40 years of work, we still can have a disaster in our region. Another threat that we are facing today, something that was responsible for the situation of the species, that means the international trafficking. 1 minute. But since the Portuguese arrived in Brazil, we have the problem of they were taking Golden Lion Tamarins as pets. So beautiful they are. We have registered in our history all those movements of animals. And we really thought that this threat was something from the past. But recently, you have different cases of trade, international trafficking involving Golden Lion Tamarins. The most symbolic one was related to a group of 20 Golden Lion Tamarins that were taken from the forest, especially from our area where we work, and they were found in a boat that had crossed the Atlantic and were found in Togo in Africa. And 3 of them died. The Brazilian government sent an airplane to rescue them. They are now, the 17 animals are safe now in one primate center in Rio, and probably will be released soon in part of the forest, some of them. But we found on those animals our tattoos that we mark them in our monitoring process. That shows that this international trafficking is not concerned about us, about the fact that we are monitoring and we are very close to them. They are taking them from our area of work. And this is really very scary, and we don't know exactly where these animals are going to. But it's a recent process. We have the authorities involved in investigate what's going on. And but it's a threat, as I was talking about the cycle in terms of the conservation, that some threats that we thought that was something that belonged to the past, but now is back. This is another serious threat that we have. Railroads that it's planned to cross our landscape now. So we are doing lots of pressure. Next week, I'm going to have a meeting in Brasilia within our governments trying to change the project. So this is the line of the railway in project. Our park is exactly here, and we have different impacts in our connections that we are building for during all this period. Only to give you an idea, we built we put pressure to build the bridge here because the road was a kind of barrier for the animals to move in the territory. No, that's why we put so much pressure here. And now that we have the bridge, we have to fight against a railway that want to cross there. Yet, if you have a train crossing here, probably this bridge is not going to be as effective as we would like it to be. So this is another example, connection that we built from 2010 to 2013. It was a farm that the landowner did not want us to work, and but we needed to build this corridor here. It's a biological reserve, and then we purchased this land also, and we restored it completely. I love to listen to this. Wow, it's nice. And in this case, you can see that we have a small road here, but the trees meet on top here, and for the Golden Lion Tamarin, this road has no impact. But now they want to have a road crossing, railway crossing right in the middle of the forest that you had planted. So we have old threats and we have new threats. So our work never ends. We have to be cautious, and we have to be, even when we reach our goal, for people don't think that our work is done. This kind of work never ends, unfortunately. And we are proposing, we are not against the railway, we are not against development, but look, we don't need to know the region to see that this is only pastures land, and there is nothing affecting the Golden Lion Tamarin territory. And this is our proposal that we are going to negotiate. I think it's possible that they will accept that. Otherwise, we are going to get crazy. We are going to ask help from all of you, because we are going to start an international campaign. Look, please give me a break. Golden Lion Tamarin has the rights to survive. Well, but let's go back to good news. So the last census we did showed us that this population had a good evolution. And more than that, if you look at both maps, the orange one is the distribution of the Golden Lion Tamarin, and you can see that's more orange in 23 than in 14. So we think that they are occupying more the territory, and we're very excited with that. Our objective is to have all this in orange, and we are going to do that. Very optimistic. So where are we now? Now we said that we want to have 25,000 hectares of forest. Yes, we do have more than that. We would like to have at least 2,000 Golden Lion Tamarins. Yes, we already reached 4,800. Forest is protected but not connected. We are not done. We have a lot of work to do. Sometimes walking back, but yes, we can do something. We can make this goal happen. So this is our message. What we are trying to do is to involve and to connect people, and trying to show why the Golden Lion Tamarin conservation matters to people. So we are saving a forest not only for one species. We are working for different species, including for us. We are reducing global warming, providing sustainable economic future for the region. We are trying to make sustainability something that provides income for the families and fresh water for all that population that living on the coast. Here we have different examples. Our friend who visit us, don't know if you recognize our Harrison Ford, of course. He went there with Dr. Russ Mittermeier, who is a good friend of us. And well, he's not a member, he's not supporting us, but I use his picture in all my presentations because it's Harrison Ford. And he was very nice. He went there with his family and spent one day there and saw the Golden Lion Tamarin. And I tried to show people, look, how we can call the attention to people related to this symbolic and iconic species, the Golden Lion Tamarin. So he's my big friend. And also, how can you help? We have different possibilities of working together. I hope our connection with the zoo will be even more important after this visit. But first thing is to learn more, to participate in conversations like this one and share this information. I hope all of you go to our social media, and we have, my time is gone already, no? Yeah, I'm finalizing. We have an American sister organization created by a couple that was very important for us, James Dietz and Luan Dietz. We have an organization here called Save the Golden Lion Tamarins. They help us a lot. They are our sister organization in the US. And we have a website called Save the Golden Lion Tamarin, of course. And please take a look if you want to get more involved with us. And please also, we have our focal friend here who is Lily, that have been there involved with Dragonfly project. And also before that we met, she was program officer at Disney when we met first. So she's very much involved. Please contact her. And if you want to do something to help us to be involved, she is the strategic person we have. You can be a Dragonfly student, or you can follow our social media. And of course, once more, you can visit and support our ecotourism activities and make a donation if you want to. This is our team. Most of the staff is from the region. We try to and some of them are working for the Golden Lion Tamarin for more than 40 years, and that's amazing. Some local partners. This kind of work cannot be done by one organization. We are not hero of anything. We are part of a group of institutions that have different roles in this process. I'm not going to talk about each one of them, and different partners who are supporting us. Until 3 weeks ago, we didn't have any support from the Brazilian government. Now we have a project that is funded by GEF fund and Brazilian government. That's very important. We are starting right now a new project to engage more the landowners, the private sector in the process. So you have different, as you can see, I'm talking about zoos. We have different zoos here involved. So I'd like to thank you all very much with this nice remember of our visitors and our social media. And that's it. Thank you so much. As I talk too much, I had a 15 minutes video, a film that, but it's in our YouTube. So I ask you to go to Associação Mico Leão Dourado and you look for this fantastic video made by an organization called Be Aware. Because it would be better if you use this time together to talk a little bit more, to exchange some ideas. If you have time after this talk, maybe we can show a little bit of the film. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So I will walk around because we have friends watching on Zoom and the recording as well. I will walk around with this mic and we invite questions of Luis Paolo Ferraz with the immense amount of amazing work and the maps you saw and how much work for decades has gone to make the survival of the species possible to this point. We very much are thrilled you're here and welcome any questions from anyone who wants to ask. And then
speak slowly, please.
I was very interested in your restoration of the forest. How long does it take from planting a seedling to having a forest tall enough to have connectivity?
To have connectivity, we need something like 2 years, 3 years. We can have a very young forest that provides some shade and for the animals to feel comfortable to cross a landscape in the middle of the trees. The Golden Lion Tamarin don't use the floor. They don't walk on top of the trees. They like to be right in the middle to feel comfortable against predators. So in 2-3 years, we already have something. But in 5 years, we have more, a better cover of the trees. And of course, to have a mature forest, you need more than 10 years, sometimes even more. Some of these species take long time. We are only planting trees. All the complexity of the Atlantic forest, including epiphytes and other species, they take time to come. We are trying to facilitate the introduction of those species, but it takes lots of time. But yes, in 3 years, we can have a very young forest that can help. We plant the seedlings with 40 centimeters, and for 3 years we need to do the maintenance of the planting to avoid to lose the seedlings for the grass, and that's the process. So it takes time.
Besides the habitat fragmentation, diseases, trafficking, what are the natural predators of the tamarins?
Natural?
What are the natural predators? What are the natural predators of the tamarins?
Well, we have different predators. We have the domestic dogs and cats are a problem. We have them in the farms, for instance. But in the forest, we have snakes, we have other cats, we have other mammals that can bring problems to them. But when it happens naturally, it's part of the life of the forest, and we don't have a problem a huge problem related to that. Sometimes we know that one day when our field team found, we're looking for, we have a radio collar on them, and they were not finding the radio collar, so they were trying to identify where it was, and they found it on the floor. And when they looked, there was a snake there. It had eaten a Golden Lion Tamarin. So it happens, but it's part of life. We cannot do anything against it. But the diversity of animals in the forest, we have different species that are involved in that. Of course, the main problem is related to us, human beings that have activities that impact their survival.
We've got a good question back here. Let's hear what it is.
How old can a Golden Lion Tamarin get in the wild?
Oh, very good question. Once we found one Golden Lion Tamarin very old, and our team was monitoring them, and this animal had 17 years old. That was the old lady, oldest lady in our years of monitoring. Normally 13, 14 years in the wild. In the zoos, they can survive a little bit more. Thank you for your question. Very good question.
I'm scared of microphones, sorry. I'm a Dragonfly student, and I'm also learning about geographic information systems and noticing that you are a geographer. How important would you say your maps have been when talking to stakeholders, to government, to farmers?
It's an essential tool to work on conservation. No, it's part of our daily work. Sometimes it's a language that's difficult for some of the part of the public that they can have difficulties to look at a map and identify where they are, etc. But and especially recently, when we have all those technologies, Googles, etc., it's been even more easy to communicate via images and maps. But for us, it's we also have a geo lab in our organization, because all the planning, all the data involved are essential for us to work and to define our strategies. No, so it's absolutely essential. Sometimes difficult to communicate because of the limitations of some partners, but in general, it's been even more easy to identify and to talk about the possibilities of looking at the landscape and talk about that.
Do you find that it's easier to get people to care about this project because the animals are so cute? Is it more challenging to have community involvement with animals that aren't, you know, so adorable to look at? And do you find that that's a motivating factor in the program?
Well, when I came to work for the association, I thought, well, that would be very easy to work with this animal, so beautiful, so symbolic, communicative. And normally, yes, with the local public, yes. We thought also for fundraising issues that it's going to be easy to raise funds to protect this beautiful animal. Sometimes it's not that easy. But yes, of course, it's easier to communicate having the Golden Lion Tamarin as our focus. Everyone loves primates and an orange primate. When you are in the forest and look around and see that beautiful animal, if you have time, I'll show the film. It's amazing. It's an experience that for people is something special. For those who live there, some of them are used to meet the Golden Lion Tamarins, and until today, of course, today much less than it was in the past, but until today, some people don't know that that is the only place on Earth where this animal lives. So our environmental education work never ends. So we have new generations that need to be informed, that need to be engaged, and to make them feel proud about that and say, wow, this is belong to us. This is in my city, in my territory. So this is something that we try to do every day, to involve people, to make them be part of the process, and to understand that that animal that they see easily is something special, that Harrison Ford came all over to see the Golden Lion Tamarin, and someone that they can see in the movies, and well, it can be something special. So on TV, we are always on TV. Now we are going to TV again because of that railway. We are always making lots of communication and different kind of approach to tell our story, to share our concerns. So the local people say, oops, we have something here that is special. But I would like to have 100% already involved, and we still have work to do.
So 2 weeks ago, there was a phenomenal presentation about lion conservation, and there was an image that had it on the edge of something. It said, you know, gift of USAID, and this kind of ripple went through the whole crowd. And then I just saw in the paper that the zoo is taking a big cut from the museum and library, whatever, that's just been totally axed. You now have a president who's certainly much more interested in conservation. We don't. What effects would you imagine seeing from things like USAID cuts or cuts to our zoo here?
Well, I know that for different projects, for different species, for different social projects, USAID has a very important role. In our case specifically, we don't have, we are not supported by USAID, and but we have different donors that we work together that will be affected. The importance of having different sources of especially when you saw our slide with our donors, we are not dependent on one donor or another to do our work, because we know the different political change that we have. We had the pandemic that were concerning us very much. Lots of zoos closed at that period. But well, in Brazil, we had recently a very difficult government in terms of environmental concerns that affected different projects drastically. So, well, that only shows us that the society has to be really, really pay attention and mobilize it to share how important those organizations are and how important are those funds that support different kind of projects all over the world. We try to do that. We do our best to. We luckily now for the first time in many years, and not only because of the difficult government we had recently, but we were not funded by public agencies, and now we are. So, but we have cycles that with good and bad government, so we should not be dependent on one donor or one government to support it. But it's an effort that all of us has to be aware and put pressure as citizens to make these institutions work and help really projects, social and environmental projects that need to be supported.
Two short questions. At the beginning, I saw where deforestation is stopped. Was that from working with companies or the local people to cut down the trees? And the second question is, how do you catch them to give them a yellow fever shot and collar them?
Good questions. Well, deforestation reduced, I have to tell you, first of all, because much of the forest were already deforested, were already cut. Not much has left. And but of course, in the last 30 years, we had a very good evolution in terms of legislation and implementation of the legislation by the public agencies, and concern of the society aware about the how illegal is to cut the Atlantic forest. So when you have a deforestation, immediately someone calls the police or do some kind of action that brings problems to the landowner. So the real fact is that the forest has reduced a lot, and the remaining forests also, if possible, they would be in problem. But now it's more complicated, and this is a good thing about all this work that has been done for different institutions all over the years. Well, to capture them, I hope we have not anyone here involved in international trafficking. Just kidding. But sorry, just kidding. It's part of our routine to capture them and take to the lab to identify biological information of the groups, to mark them, to observe in the field. So we capture them in cages. We have to capture all the group to take to the lab. Sometimes we try, but some of them get more smart and don't go into the trap. So that is an issue for our team. They have to return next day. They get used to it. They are quite smart. And then we take them we put them in the car and take to our lab, do all the work that has to be done, vaccinate them. They have to go into anesthesia, vaccinate them, and next day, and they sleep there at the lab, and next day we go back to exactly to the same place and release them. That's the process that has been doing for a long time. And we have a mark that to help to monitor them, we mark the body and the tail. The body is a mark that shows the different groups. So our team look at that group and they know exactly which group is that. And in the tail, we have different marks that they look at them and identify exactly who is who in that group, daddy, mommy, and everyone. And so these guys, they have lots of experience to identify them. And they know exactly if it's missing someone in the group. Sometimes one has left the group, or is not there anymore. So this monitoring and support help us to not only to vaccinate, but in our research every day.
2 more questions on here.
You pointed out that they are not camouflaged. And I just wanted to ask if we have any knowledge of why they evolved the way they have with such bright colors.
Let me see if I understood well. Asking about their color and no. Could you repeat, please? Lily?
You pointed out that they do not camouflage with the forest. They stand out. And I wondered if we have any knowledge as to why they evolved to not be camouflaged.
I don't know.
So they are bright orange and they live in this green landscape. It's hard to know why they've evolved that way, but they are able to survive when they are left alone by people, right? There are lots of birds that are also bright colored in these landscapes as well that thrive. So,
and of course they have some techniques to survive. So they work as a group. If they are eaten, one is observing, and they have a call that they tell the other, one observes and tell the others if the predator is coming. So they have to create some mechanism to survive in the forest, no? And working as a group, it's fantastic to see how the vocalization helped them to communicate between themselves with 19 different vocalizations, and each one with a different function, and it helps them to survive in the field. But of course, they are very much exposed, and their color is amazing.
And I'm getting good data on my phone from researchers in the back who are saying we see color in different ways than predators who might not see the color in the same way. And so we have to remember that wildlife perceive the world differently than our eyeballs do. So there's opportunities there. I want to close out with asking a question. I'm going to come up here and say Cincinnati Zoo is very involved in several reintroduction recovery programs where we breed animals to release here. We hope to breed them here to then be able to take them to their home landscape. And I look to this model, this species as an example of what can be possible, getting down to such low numbers and then being able to reintroduce them. And now your numbers are so high. What advice do you have for us and our partners from your perspective where you are now about what to keep hope focused on when it's hard? This work is really hard and conservation is complicated, but you found pathways to make it work.
First thing, you were talking about hope. Yesterday we had a conversation about that. And one thing that we always try to share with people is hope. We are talking about environment, and normally our message is negative or difficult or a problem. And yes, it's true. We have lots of environmental problems all over the world, and the species are suffering all over the world, and human beings also. So we need to show that something can be done, and there is also a positive message to pass to people. Otherwise, we could not receive our guests, our visitors, and say, poor Golden Lion Tamarin, they are dying. Situation is so difficult. No, of course, we know that we have so many difficulties, but well, yes, it's possible. We are trying to restore their habitat. The situation is very difficult, but we are building a bridge that can solve the problem of the road. It's going to solve 100% of the problem, no, but 60%, yes. So that's a good result to share. And the history of this project with zoos is also something that's amazing. Not everyone understands what good zoos can do. I don't talk about all the zoos. We know that you have bad experiences also in your area. You have zoos that do not, they are not so aware about their importance, and they don't do good jobs. But the message here that I have is yes, we are making a difference. We are also supporting projects. You are involved in conservation projects, and this animal that you can see here with us in the field also has a hope. No? So if you think like that, I think that our daily work will be it will be always difficult, always full of problems, but possible, and bring in results that can be shared, that people can take part. And especially in our case, in the partnership of a zoo and a conservation initiative, that we need to work together. We have no option to work without the zoos. It's very, very important, not only the financial support, but also the fact that the zoos are part of the strategy. And we need to show people this kind of message, because since we are doing a good thing to change the world. So the message, yes, we can do things to change, even in a small scale. We know that our scale is very small. We are restoring I'm not going to ask about acres and hectares again, but we have been restoring some forest, and you can see the forest that in a pasture area. So it's easier for people to understand. So when we share that, we try to bring hope. When we share that graphic about the evolution of the population, we think that yes, it's possible. But so let's do more. Let's increase our work on conservation, and let's try to leave a better world for that fantastic kid who asked me and all the friends that we have. Thank you so much for
Luis Paulo. Thank you so much. At the Cincinnati Zoo, our mission is to inspire everyone with wildlife. And you are inspiring us, because this is a great, successful program. So thank you.